Hello everyone. Today we're learning how to calculate the gradient of a slope using windy.com. We'll cover two methods, using the built-in tools and manually using contour lines. Nothing unusual in the descriptions that hopefully I've already given in class about using contour lines, so we're going to stick with using windy.com. Okay, so we're looking at windy.com right now. It's a powerful tool and offers some features that aren't immediately obvious, but are incredibly useful for terrain analysis. So let's get started. You're looking at windy.com, the website, and you can see that we've got the address up here in the URL, as well as the latitude and the longitude, which is used for GPS all around the world. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is go to our location, and today we're going to look at Thredbo Ski Village. Now, if looking at the map, you'll see where my cursor is that we have Thredbo. You can also go up to the search box and you can look for it. So here, for example, Thredbo. Now, it shows you where Thredbo is. We don't need this part at the moment. We can zoom in. You notice that we have colors here. These colors are actually showing the wind. All right, over here on the right, we've selected wind. If it's not there for you, then you can select it. You might need to be on the wind setting in order to see the contour lines when we zoom in. So as we go in, you'll see the terrain begins to show up. Shows the ridges, and it shows the gullies, and it even shows the rivers through the blue areas there. We're going to zoom right in. And as we zoom in, you'll see that we have contour lines. Okay, so for example, this one here reads 1600. If you follow that line all the way along, you're walking flat. You're not going uphill or downhill. You're walking along a 1600 meter altitude. And as you follow that cursor along, you'll see that's where it's headed. Some are labeled, some are not. Looking at this map here, you'll see we've got 1500, and the next one here is 1450. So we've descended 50 meters. That tells us that this is downhill. And if we kept going, this darker one here will be 1400. So that's contour lines, and that gives you the height above sea level. So in order to calculate the gradient of a slope using this site, I recommend doing the following. What you do is right click on the map. Okay, when you right click, you get all these options. You've got the latitude and the longitude, and you can copy it. You've also got the altitude at 1469, right where I clicked. Okay, you can show weather. Show the weather picker. Basically just tells you the weather. Forecast for the location, distance and planning, and sounding. I'm not sure what sounding does, but the one we want is distance and planning. When we click on that, you'll see that this little pop-up down the bottom here shows up. And it tells you that you've got to click on the map to add more waypoints. So what we're going to do is, as an example, we'll target this one here. We're going to calculate the gradient of this ski lift. So what we do is we simply click, I think it's a left click. So left click right where the beginning is, and then we can just simply drag this up to the top. Now this is going to give us the slope, okay? And you'll notice that down the bottom here, the graphic has changed shape and so forth. So you'll see here we've got the number 1, right? This is the number 1 here, all right? So we're at that point here, and over the other side here we've got number 2, all right? So what this is telling us is that at point number 1, if we hover over there, you'll see that our height, looking down the bottom here, is 1,000, try to be accurate, 1,941 meters above sea level. And then over here at point number 2, we've got 1,695 meters. And you can calculate the distance by subtracting the higher altitude by the lower altitude, and that will give you the distance. All right. You can also see that we've got the measurement in distance here. So it says 1.1 kilometer. You can just see in the white here. And we've got, therefore, the two main ingredients that we need to calculate the gradient of a slope. Okay, the average angle of ascent or descent moving up or down the hill. Now, we can do the calculation to work out distance, but luckily windy.com actually provides that information here on the left. So it tells us that the total descent from point 1 to point 2 is 246 meters. That gives us our rise. It also tells us the beginning of the height, the high point, and the low point. And it tells us the distance, 1.1 kilometers km. Now, when we calculate gradient, we always, and you need to remember this, we always want to use the same unit of measurement. And the easiest unit of measurement to use is meters. So we actually have to convert this distance of 1.1 kilometers to meters. Now that's going to give us 1,100 meters. And from there we can use the gradient calculation to work out what the gradient is. And what's interesting about this is that you can use this technique and you can mark a number of waypoints or a number of stopping points or paths. So as an example, if I was to close this, okay, and you'll see that the line disappears. Let's say that I wanted to measure this Dead Horse Gap walking track, and I wanted to measure, where's uphill and where's downhill throughout the journey. What I can do is I can right click, come down to distance and planning. Oops, zoomed in on me. And we can get rid of this. I don't know if we can drag that. Yes, we can drag that. So let's say that we wanted to measure this. This is the walk up to Kosciuszko. So you can drag number 2, and you can add points as you go. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know if I can drag that. I can. That's brilliant. So we're calculating distance and we're calculating gradient. We're going up and down hills, circling around to Mount Kosciuszko as we walk up the track. You'll notice that the distance for Kosci is given here at 2,228 meters. Put one there. We might need to zoom in and put one in there. Okay, and so down here what you'll see is that all of the points are given, and it shows you that you've walked uphill. You're looking at this dark grey line, uphill, flattens out a little bit, back downhill, flattens out, heading back uphill, slowly going higher and higher. And the distance tracker on the bottom shows us that we are in fact heading higher. And you'll notice at the top, the figure up the top here tells us the distance we've actually walked if we were walking on this track. Okay, as we work our way along, I also want you to take note of this little line here that we see. And as I track to the right, you'll see that my little white dot is moving along, showing where I am on this journey. It gets really steep as we go up. I've now traveled 2.8 kilometers. We're going uphill, and uphill, and we continue to go uphill, and it flattens out a little bit. 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, 3.8. We finally get to 4 kilometers in distance. 4.5, 4.1 k's. Oh, look at this. We got a bit of a drop off. It's really quite steep down into a bowl and then up the other side. And you can see that from 14 all the way through to 18, it's actually relatively flat. Okay. And so forth. Okay, so that's how you can use windy.com to perform a gradient calculation. You still have to do the equation, which is gradient equals rise over run, rise divided by run. You can also calculate the local relief, which is the difference between the highest point and the lowest point. And if we were to do that right now on this journey, we would see that our highest point is going to be at point number 18, where we have Mount Kosciuszko at 2,000. It says 2,215. That's probably because I didn't quite get on top of the mountain. But you can see, 2,215 meters is the high point. But where's the low point on the entire journey? If we go back down the hill, So we've gone up, we've had lunch, and we're on our way back down. We go to the low point, and it looks like it's right at number 2 here. And you'll see that the height, looking at the bottom, is 1,955. So you subtract the 2, and that gives you your local relief, which is a distance in height between the lowest point and the highest point on this journey. And that's how windy.com is a very useful website. So I hope you continue to use it, and it's a very interesting site. So good luck with that.